Aloha, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Phoenix Friday. And I happen to have someone who lives very nearby to me. I'll consider him my own nephew. Some of you know him from our group, and this is Ryan Richards. So, everybody, please, when you jump on, say hello to Rye Guy. And he is a medical intuitive and spiritual coach, practicing and teaching energy medicine through meditation, breath, breath work, and various awareness exercises. He teaches embodied intuition with the intention of inspiring wisdom based conscious living and compassionate sovereign sustainability. So, hello, everyone is popping on. You guys, you have seen Rye Guy in the comments, you have seen him in the communities, and now you get to see his beautiful smile. So, welcome, Rye Guy. Yes, Ryan Richards. And he does have a website, ryanrichards.net. So, if you guys would like to get to know more about what he offers, go to his website. So, right, guy, how do you know me? Hmm.
How do I know you?
Yeah. You guys, we live right around the corner from each other.
Well,
Thank
I
you,
don't
Nikki.
know. I've been part of the Biko Ohana a little bit, from a place of heart for a long time. And back in 2016, wow, was it 2016? Was that before? A friend of mine went off island and she was delivering boxes of food and just helping out different people around the island. And so I helped her with that while she was off island. And so I got to go over to your house every Friday and drop off good boxes of food. So good veggies,
Yay!
island grown. Yeah, good stuff.
Yes. I mean, so in essence, I would say that our meeting was a divine blessing.
Yeah, I agree.
and and he's been considered in my heart a nephew to me ever since. So I'm so honored to have my Rye Guy be introduced to all of you because not only is he special because he's my nephew Rye Guy, but because of the talent and the work that he shares with the world. First off, I'd like to ask you the question that I present to all of my Phoenix Friday guests because obviously this is the Phoenix Friday show. So, what ignited the phoenix in you in regards to you allowing yourself to be open to these magnificent gifts of medical intuition and just the teaching aspect of it as a whole? What is it that really ignited the phoenix in you?
That's a great question, and I could answer that in many different ways. And the first thing that I would say is, as far as the blessings that I carry, that I'm able to offer those around me, that is something that has been seen by my family since I was a young kid. So it's always been fostered in some way, and so the support has always been there. Um, and with that kind of support and that kind of openness, though, as well, you get to see that, a phoenix in the fire isn't always just one occasion. And for my case, it's one of those things where I feel like I've been in the fire and have had to learn to stand in the fire. And there's times I might raise up out of it, and there's times I come back down because that fire is so useful to really my own embodied sovereignty. Doesn't mean I'm not human. That's why I got the fire to help burn off some of that. Just stuff we go to, the things that are human. Um,
Life happens.
Life happens. You got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and we're all human. I think there's this idea that we can strive and ascend off the planet and all this stuff. Yet when we put our focus on that sort of awareness, it really takes away from the good, juicy human experiences that we can have here. So be in the fire, learn to stay in the fire until it doesn't burn, and don't get out. Stay there. because it's such a
See,
beautiful place to be and be that
what
big, beautiful, bright phoenix.
what aspects of your gifts, because like you said, there are times where we're heating up before we take flight. We're in it, and we're honoring the experience.
Yeah.
And what aspect of your gifts would you say is your go-to help get that spark that lifts you? Thank you, Nikki. Nikki's in the background, guys. Our Nick's here taking care of
I
business.
I'm so grateful you asked that question because that question right there is, the answer to that question is something that I get to come back to, especially over the last year, more and more and more. And really what it is trust. Trust that all is well. And I would say trust is a powerful gift.
I would
Trust and
agree with
faith is a powerful, they're both powerful gifts. As far as intuitive qualities, I would say that's something that's always ever expanding and evolving. And so for me, staying centered in that trust and that faith, that's been challenged a lot over the last year and a half because I'm in a growth phase, right?
that.
Um,
Aren't we all?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But I think it's important that we, really acknowledge our own individual stuff too, and not let it be taken away by this idea that everybody's going through it, because that's how we really get to go inward. And when we have those friends that are there and they can listen and hold that open ear and be present with you and allow you to be who you are, just holding sacred space,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes that sacred space is enough to really be able to not only work through but to witness your own healing. And all of that requires faith and trust. um, and I think, those perhaps aren't the intuitive qualities that we would consider normally as intuitive or psychic, yet they're the foundation.
I believe
They're
that.
definitely a solid foundation for
Absolutely.
that platform of work and self-discovery. Yeah.
I love that. I love that you brought that in because, a lot of people that are going through it and they feel like, oh, but you're so spiritual. Of course you can get through it, you know? But these are the foundation, If you can walk in that trust and that, that divine support in itself, it truly is a gift, you know?
Absolutely. What I would say to that as well, vulnerability is also really important. And that's one thing that I've been over the last year and a half is extremely open and vulnerable because I'm human too. And I think more often than not, when we're in a position of taking, spiritual classes, or maybe we're taking psychic classes, sometimes there's this idea that the instructor is better than us. And I really work hard to, make it an even playing field. So I share what's going on with me too. Just because I have these abilities or these qualities that, I like to say I'm the flute, right? And God comes through and plays the music. And so I try to stay open and just be an open vessel. Like my Hanaya mom, she's a divine instrument, yeah. And
Mhm.
so that's really, really important. So that the people around you also see that, yeah, you're human too. Yeah, you might have these beautiful gifts, but we all do. We all get to learn to step up and support each other. That builds community. And when we talk about community and family, we can't be. I don't know why this is coming to mind, but I don't know if you know the expression, but crabs in the bucket. We can't do that anymore. We can't try and get out of the bucket and climbing on other people. We get to be there to support each other. I think where we're at in the world, so many of us are finding ourselves at the edge of a huge river, looking together, how are we going to cross this river? And there's so much animosity in the world that keeps us torn up that we don't know ourselves sometimes well enough to be able to make the communication with the people around us so that we can be in family and community. It's one of the big blessings that we have here, wouldn't you say, Auntie? Because it's that supporting each other that is so powerful.
It makes a difference. I mean, you guys, we live on a rock in the middle of the ocean, but even in this environment, we get to taste what it's like to have that ability to be vulnerable and yet be supportive with others at the same time, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So we have this natural cultural environment of that tribal support for each other. And then I notice I go on just onto another island, and I see kupunas, I see our seniors sitting there waiting for the bus, and I greet them, and they're like holding on to their purses. Like I get little confused and saddened at the same time. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not where I'm from, but it's where I'm from. It's the same state. It's just a different rock, and it's an environment that where all of these people are standing on that shoreline of the river, and there's no communication to help support how we're going to get across together. You know, and this is
Yeah.
happening a lot in the world. So when you were referring to allowing an even playing field and showing that spiritual teachers and coaches and mentors, we are not up on this pedestal. Everyone is up on the same. We are all here, and each lily pad is perfect for you. You know, um, what do you say to people when they say, "Well, what are you doing sad? You're spiritual, aren't you? Don't you know how to get out of that? Why are you in that lower energy? You're not supposed to play in lower energies." Or oh well, that guy, I always see him getting pissed off. So all that spiritual stuff he's talking about, that's all fake. What do you say to people that think spirituality means you're just in this flying rainbows and butterflies all the time? How do you allow them to see that spirituality is a gift for the journey? It's not a completely new journey. You know?
The so the way that I operate is situational awareness. So it really depends on the particular situation and the energy that I'm in and the person that I'm sitting with that's asking the question. Because that answer could be really varied across the board. It could be just simply sitting and listening and holding a space of compassion for that individual. Sometimes I find that people really just need to talk and they need somebody to listen to them. Sometimes those questions don't necessarily need to be answered. But when they do get to be answered and they're really curious about it, you know, it's really just sharing and opening up and being vulnerable that no, it is for me anyway. Um, you know what? I'll tell a little story to answer this. It's in a roundabout way in a different context, but I think it's really important. One of the things about this gift that you asked me earlier, this body of gifts that I carry, is that it takes me around the world. You know, doing healing with the land, with different peoples and cultures, doing doing grid work around the planet, helping to stabilize the planet in different ways. And I was a flight attendant doing troop transport, so I was in and out of war zones for a few years. And after the second Gulf War, shortly after, we were allowed to lay over in Kuwait City. And we had a layover in Kuwait City. Long story short, we were invited into an imam's home. An imam is like a preacher or a priest, but of the Muslim faith. And we were invited into his home for lunch. Well, interestingly enough, his wife spoke English, perfect English. When I was on the phone with her, I had no idea, that she was an American. And we get there, and she's, in her burqa and her job and everything. And I had a friend with me that was female, so to experience this, the grandmother was there too. She didn't look at me, she didn't speak with me, she spoke Arabic the entire time. She would look at my friend but not me, and that was okay. I understood all of that. After lunch, we went into the living room, and the imam asked his brother-in-law to ask me a question, and the question was, are you Christian? And I closed my eyes for a minute, and I opened up, and I looked at him, and I said, yes, I'm Christian. I'm also Buddhist. I'm also Jewish. I'm also Muslim. I'm a little bit of everything that I've ever studied, because for me and my point of view, from my point of awareness, there's one peak to that mountaintop, and there's many paths to get there. So to distinguish, a discernment or a difference in religion and apply that towards me individually, we get to remember that we're all brothers and sisters on this planet. And if we're going to survive and if we're going to make it moving forward, we have to remember that. And we get to come together again as the beautiful family that we truly are. The grandmother started crying. And she looked at me, mind you. I mean, this is really important. She looked at me and she said in English, she said, "Today, Allah has answered my prayers." And I said, what do you mean Allah has answered your prayers? She said, "No, you don't understand." She said, "My son is married to an American woman. They have 5 children. We've not seen my son because of the wars in over 5 years. He's afraid to leave the country because he's afraid he won't be able to get back into the US. We've not been given exit visas to come visit him. And so I've been praying to see my son. And today Allah has answered my prayers because I don't get to see my son, but Allah has brought the United States into my home. And this is the closest I've been to my son in a long time." So, that's an example of how I might answer that question. It was in a roundabout way, but it's all about the heart. And when we really learn to trust ourselves and live in a place of heart, and to be grounded and to find our bodies, not off floating somewhere else, but to come right here. And these things that happen to us, everything is always happening for a reason. So we get to love those, welcome them in, right? And sometimes you'll welcome in for tea and you'll be like, "Holy crap, that's a lot of tea." But what do I get to do? I get to sit down and I get to have conversation with these experiences and these parts of myself that are experiencing whatever that is they're experiencing, whether it be some deep emotion or, anger, grief, even extreme joy and excitement. Sometimes we can get so excited that we blow ourselves out and we lose sense of our body and we get ungrounded, right? So it's always coming back to balance.
You get that sugar rush high and you're just like up there and then you crash. You forget that grounding aspect and coming in and really allowing yourself to be
Yeah.
one with the experience, be one with it. Not to dance too much in the energy of it, but appreciating it. Um,
Exactly. There's something to be said for being able to hold that and to take, taking that excitement that we have and bring it in and grounding it into gratitude, because
exactly.
we're in these bodies and we forget these bodies, right? These bodies are on this journey with us, just as our own spirits, our own souls have been evolving for eons. These physical bodies have been in a state of evolution through our ancestors for millennia, for, God knows how long, right? So these bodies carry wisdom too. And we forget that the gifts that we carry in this world are actually in our bodies. It's not something we're going off and looking for. The bodies are programmed. We've come at Earth's request to be here during this time. And so, Mama Earth has given us in these bodies everything that we need to be here. And if we don't mind our bodies, how can we ever discover the big, beautiful, juicy gifts that we carry if we don't open ourselves to them and allow them to teach us? So that's the work that I do. Is teaching people how to get grounded, to find their body, to come home to themselves, giving them tools to hone into their intuition, because their intuition is nothing more than their own inner wisdom voice. Yeah. And that's important, especially in today's world. There's so much pulling and tearing at us that, we see with our own kids, how disconnected sometimes they are and don't know how to hold conversations because they're exactly going forward. We've got to learn to come together. There's a bigger plan in place, but we have to learn to remember ourselves and remember our bodies to be present in that plan.
And that went very well into my next question, which was, how do you utilize your wisdom and your journey in this life and all of the eons of lifetimes prior to all of this into helping others ignite and become in this awareness of who they truly are and the infinite more that they have? How do you allow yourself, your gifts, your training, your sessions to ignite the phoenix in others? And I know that is their responsibility to ignite the phoenix in themselves. But what is it that you offer, your sessions and your courses that helps them to ignite that spark and empower themselves to be that phoenix?
Aside from the different tools and the conversations that we have and the material that's given, for reading and for further study, it's really being an example. When I'm facilitating a healing, what I've noticed over the years is that, people ask me, I am not a healer. Can I affect healing? Absolutely. What kinds of healing can I affect? I've seen all kinds of stuff, be taken care of. Ankylosing spondylitis, stage 4 cancer, all kinds of stuff have healed in my presence. That's not me. I'm not the healer. And so to be able to hold the resonance of healing and to be able to picture and mirror that towards my students, there's a space that's created for radical transformation that they get to tap into and find a mirror effect, if you will, in that healing. So I'm a firm believer that, energy, we're all symbiotic, and symbiotic being, it's kind of like a reptile. You get a snake, it goes out, lays on the rock, right? And the sun hits it. Well, the snake's temperature is going to rise and it's going to harmonize with that temperature. It gets cold, it goes down. Same thing. You get somebody that's a very high vibrational, walks into a room, everybody in the room is going to begin harmonizing and entraining to the highest resonance in that room. So, in order to, a lot of my teaching isn't only verbal, it's actually holding the energy that we're working with. Because from a place of spirit and energy, they're tapping into levels of information, if you will, that they're not even aware of. And these seeds get planted, and as they continue working with the exercises and diving into who they are and the self exploration, they begin to see the body of wisdom that these physical bodies carry and the examples that have been left for them to model forward. Does that answer your question?
It does, because you're empowering them with all of this wisdom. And once it gets integrated in them and becomes their truth, you can't help but get that spark and fly. You get that
Yeah,
that phoenix going, because then you're walking in a new you're birthing this new awareness and implementing it into your life. Because let me tell you, the truth, it will keep coming out until you say, yes, this is my truth. It will keep calling you. And having these seeds planted for these people, I think it's beautiful.
and I think
Um,
it's important to say, though, too, it takes great courage to do this work. It really does. To sit down and to take the time to look at ourselves. I mean, for some people, it's tedious just to sit down for 5 minutes and listen to their breath, right? Because there's an awareness of self in that they get to cultivate. They get to learn to come back into relationship with him or herself and with their body.
so, speaking of this integration, if you guys, let me just say first off, you have a 50% off discount for your sessions. So if you guys like what you hear, if you're resonating with what he's saying, if you would love to check out the experience that could change your life, seriously, if you allow yourself to integrate this. But he has a 50% off, guys. You guys got to check out this special. 50, okay? 50. And Nick just threw the link and the information in the comments. But in this session, what I love about this, and we're speaking about this integration, you have your sessions in two parts.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I understand why this is, but maybe you could speak on the importance of allowing that integration and why it is that you have your sessions in two parts.
Sure,
So,
absolutely. Sure. Before I answer that question, I'll just preface, the the title on here is medical intuitive. And I just want to invite you to consider that that's not the only thing that I do. I use my intuition in many, many, many capacities. I work with CEOs, I work with medical physicians around the world. I do private one-on-one coaching and teach people how to do what I do. And if I get somebody that comes and they're ill and they want to heal, I teach them how to do what I do so that they have the tools to be able to heal, him or herself. That's really important. These two sessions, for me, it's really important because the first one is a 90-minute conversation based on your questions. I do not do cold readings. In other words, a cold reading being, you come to me and you sit there and you just listen to everything that I have to say. For me, it's really important, in order for me to best utilize the capacity of my gifts, is to have a conversation, and the client gets to be open and honest and vulnerable about where he or she is. And so these questions give us an opportunity to really hone in on a core focal point um, from which their world is currently kind of evolving. We might have 1,000 questions, I exaggerate, but we might have 1,000 questions on that page. But at the end of the day, what we find is usually within 2, 3, 4 questions, everything's already been answered. And, people go through, oh, that's been answered, that's been answered. It's because it all ties together. There's some core focal point that we get to work with. And so once that happens, we've opened up this can of worms and we've laid it all out on the table. We can come a few days later and follow up with a healing session where I facilitate an energy healing to begin soothing and integrating a lot of the stuff that's come up for you. And from that point of view, it's kind of like clearing all the clouds, right? Clearing all the clouds away. You have a clear view of where you're at moving forward. And then from that point, you get to take a look. Is that enough for you then to find the next person to support you on your journey? Maybe next steps are for you to move forward alone in. Maybe it's an enrollment in a class, whether mine or someone else. I'm a firm believer I'm not the only one that does this work, right? There's many, many people who do it. There can never be enough people doing this work, right? Some people are like, oh, there's so many massage therapists, I can't get any clients. Change your mindset. There can never be enough people facilitating support for us. So
Absolutely.
reading based on our questions, and we get to come in and follow up with a healing session. And after the healing session, for me, one of the prime focus is to not only work with your intention and the intention that was brought forward from our original reading, but to also give you and to offer an experience of embodiment. What does it feel like to be in your body? What does it feel like to find yourself located in your body? Even if it's an opportunity to be pain-free for an hour, right? You get to explore that. What does that look like? That gift of that pain-free for an hour, among many other experiences, is really an opportunity for you to become aware of your own potentiality and what's possible. If you can have that now, it only lasted even 10 minutes and it was fleeting, guess what? Your body remembered that and you can come back and learn to cultivate that. And so that's the work that we do going forward, either in classes or individual coaching.
And you're speaking of your classes, you're actually empowering your students. You're empowering them with this wisdom and these gifts, so that they can continue this light work. They can
Absolutely.
be these way showers and help. And this lotuses out, it ripples out into the universe. And as you say, there can never be enough. There is always room for more of this light. Um, and speaking of more, we have more people that are going to be coming on our show. They are in our waiting room. We have Emily and Allison. And you, these are your, I don't want to say clients. This is part of your soul family, as you have interacted with them in sessions and in courses. And I would love for them to come on and share a little bit about their journey in their sessions and as a student of yours. But could you explain what it is that if someone was interested in taking your course, what was your goal, your mission statement in creating courses in the first place?
So many people in the world, I mean, we see the state of the world right now. And, it's really easy to get plugged into, the news and the media outlets and see all this negativity. I'm a firm believer that there's actually more love and positivity right now on the planet than there's ever been. And it truly outweighs the negativity that's being expressed and the control that's vying for sustainability, right, for its presence. And so I see this need for people to tune into themselves. People are hungry for support. And the truest vibration of support that we can offer is our own inner wisdom and our own inner support. And if there's one thing that I offer, and even if someone were to come into a 6-month class that I'm going to be offering again here beginning in July, it'll launch in a couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that, is to find your body and be grounded, is to really be grounded. Because if you can learn to be grounded and find your body and remember that the most important relationship your body has is with Earth, then you begin to become robust enough to navigate the winds that are going to be blowing around us coming in the future.
Yeah, get that
Now you
bamboo.
get to learn to be that mango tree, protecting our gardens, or wherever else, the willow tree, right? You just surrender. but you stay grounded. You can
Exactly.
just flat float and dance with what's around you.
And dancing, you will be dancing in energies around the US. You have live events coming up as well. And I know that they are to be announced in regards to dates and times and stuff. But guys, check out his website and really see what he has to offer, be it the sessions with the 50% off, guys, right now, or the courses that he teaches. And you don't have to be deprived of his energy if you are in the US, because you will be able to find out what the calendar is going to be bringing up in the future in regards to live events in, I want to say the mainland, but in, in the continuous US states. So, what are some of the states that you're looking at possibly being live
Yeah.
in person?
Going to looking at going to Portland. So I'll be in Portland, Oregon, Phoenix, Arizona, Bath, Maine. And actually, Allison's coming on. She's going to be hosting me.
Oh, great.
Also, there is a healing center in Livermore, California that I've worked out in the past. So there's a good possibility I'll be back in Livermore. And then I'm also looking at teaching a class and doing some workshops, hopefully in Amsterdam at the end of the year. So it's all in the flow. I'm still waiting for my orders too as that comes in.
Waiting to get voluntold. Okay,
Yeah.
we're on it. you know but
Yeah.
so, guys, and I know a lot of our viewers are in Phoenix, so check out
Oh,
his website. And when you have promotions, please let us know. We can post them and let other people know, because I do have a lot of followers that are in the Phoenix area, so that would be fantastic if they could
awesome.
meet you in person you know
Yeah.
um so shall we bring on your
Sure. Can I
special
say one more thing
guest?
really quick, just to
Yes.
preface? There might be a lot of questions out there. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. I've always worked word of mouth. So you may not have heard of me. I'm just now kind of stepping out in the public eye and coming out of my cave and standing out to look at the light. That being said, I've facilitated workshops all over the U.S. in the last several years, but this is, I'm just beginning to launch more into the public eye. So this field of work is not new to me, and I get a lot of master intuitives and psychics that come to work with me as well. So we can build good relationship, and if it feels right, I can support you perhaps, and if not, then I have a network of people that I work with. We can find someone that can support you in the way that best fits you. So
Absolutely.
yeah, let's
That's
bring them on.
you know. And the website is, Nikki. Thank you for dropping that in the comments. Thank you for asking, Sandra. It is ryanrichards.net. Again, he's offering sessions at 50% off, and also he teaches classes. And there's going to be upcoming live in-person events in the mainland. Yes, in California, Corinne's in California. We have a lot of people in the areas that you just mentioned. So we can help you promote in this aspect on our social media realm in this group. And you guys spread the word. He goes by word of the mouth. If you guys like his energy, share his energy. Okay, because this is our Rye Guy. You guys know Rye Guy. We shine brighter together, everybody. So definitely
Always.
supporting our Rye Guy. So, is there anything else you'd like to say before we bring on your beautiful soul family in the background?
No, bring them on.
Bring them on. Okay, so everyone, please welcome Allison and
Hey,
Emily. So,
Emily.
welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my first time meeting you two, and so I would like to say thank you. I highly appreciate you being here supporting my Right Guy, or our Right Guy. I get a little greedy. Um, and I want to be able to let the audience experience through your eyes both the sessions that you experience. You don't have to go get into personal detail, just share what you feel open to, because this is live. And after you both share your experience with the sessions that you receive, I'd like to hear what it is that drew you into wanting to learn more, discover more through his classes and his teaching. So let's start with alphabetical order. We'll go with Allison.
So, hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
I started working with Ryan back in 2014 when I went to a workshop that he did in College Station. And I was just curious about the sort of work that he did. And when I found out that he was coming, it was like an answer to prayer, just to learn more, you know? And I think what I experienced in that workshop was it just hit home in so many ways. And it made me see how real what he was doing was and how it could benefit me. And so I began having sessions with Ryan twice a week. And I had a great experience to have someone that I can trust so much who really gets me.
And were you doing the split sessions as he's doing now that he's offering? And
There was a
how, and I was going to say, and how did it differ from having a singular session, like as in most cases?
um, I'm not sure I can really answer that question. I think we started out with um, a reading, and then I don't remember exactly how it went, but I think it was a split session. And then we went on to really just having these twice weekly calls and doing, he worked, just took me through the process of working with the different energies. And does that sound right, Ryan? Did I get that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a running joke that you can't hide from me. So, I mean, if we're not in session, I'm not looking. But if we're in session, it's fair game. There's an agreement, and if you commit to yourself, then I commit to support you, and so it's an open field, right? Yeah, yeah.
And
Thank
so
you for
thank
sharing,
you.
Allison, because
Thank you
it's
so much for sharing that, Allison.
yeah, it's always
And
been an honor to work with the both of you.
and Emily, would you like to share your experience with the sessions that Ryan offers?
Yes, thank you. Um, hmm, yeah, the sessions with Ryan. Well, I'll say that I started working with him in 2019, and we had a few sessions, and then I ran and came back last year when he offered a course. And for me, what's been, I think in the beginning, what was really needed and super supportive was to be working with someone. I wasn't in my body, and it was super supportive to be working with someone who could sense what was going on in my body and help me see, like, oh, that's what that is. And like, as things came up as we worked in getting grounded, especially. So um the sessions, I mean, I think you'll ask us more questions, so I don't want to get too ahead, but I agree with Allison. I mean, the way the intuition comes through, both I'll say now, both from Ryan, and now as he's teaching, both of us are learning from him, developing our own intuition, and it's it's amazing what comes through, the visuals that come through. Ryan and I talked about, I had a session with him yesterday, and he was like, I never would have thought of that. But it's always kind of it's exactly what you need to get the message. So.
I love that. And for this question will be for both of you. Um, what was it while working with Ryan that would be your biggest sharing point if someone was coming to you and they said, I'm going through all of this, and then Ryan pops into your brain. What is it that you feel that you could share with other people that would allow them to be open and say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go check out this Rye guy, you know?
Um, I guess I can start just by saying I have recommended to a number of people that they check out Ryan. Um, I think the biggest thing for me is at the point that I started working with Ryan, looking back, I think I was in a place of almost desperation to figure out some things in my life, and and I did. Very quickly, I figured out some pretty major things, and I developed the courage to really do what I knew I wanted to do and what I needed to do. And within the first, I'm sorry, my cat has been wanting to join this discussion ever since we
That's
started.
okay. I have livestock in my house as well.
Okay. I think within a year and a half, I had made some major, major life changes, and it's just been such a positive influence. And so I think that to me is the biggest thing is to really be seen and to be invited to become fully myself and to live the life that I want to live. So.
Emily, is there anything that is like your go-to if you were going to suggest Ryan to one of your friends or someone that you know is really, really struggling with, you know, things that are taking them out of their own body? You know, how would you get them to want to go see our Ryan?
Um, my personal my personal experience is the self actualization that comes from working with Ryan is I've never seen it. I've never seen work like this before. I don't. I mean, Ryan's like, oh, everyone does this work. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, Ryan. Like, no one does it like you do it. And um, it's funny. I have a little bit of a. I don't mean this to be flippant, but like because I've worked with Ryan, I would know exactly what to say to that person because it would come through. You know what I mean?
I,
Um,
I,
here
I
to,
love
to
that
this
concept.
group, what I could say is working with Ryan's changed my life and how I am and how I occupy my own agency. And that's available to everyone.
Okay, Sandra is asking a question. I believe this is directed to you, Ryan. May I ask what it costs? Would love to have a session with him.
Well, it would be the soul exploration package. So we're looking at 2 sessions. And that's really important to go on the website, to book the soul exploration package, because that's where I start. And there's a reason for that, because I've learned over the years that people can have a reading and something's left open, they end up coming back anyway, to kind of find that cohesive piece that we didn't venture into yet. The soul exploration package costs $500, but remember, you have a 50% off discount code, right? So it's $250, and that'll be running through July 1st.
So July 1st, guys, you got to jump on it, okay? Because he's worth every penny, and you are worth every penny, okay? So there
Absolutely.
is a 50% off discount code, which is Ke Aloha Nui, and you need to include uh, the capital letters in the sequence of the code. And I love this you put Ke Aloha Nui on there. Can you explain Ke Aloha Nui real quick for our audience so they can
Yeah.
remember this fantastic code?
Well, I chose this on purpose because the work that I do for me is all based in love. For me, when I'm working with someone, it's just love that's flowing through, and that gets expressed in a myriad of ways, right? Through my own voice. Ke aloha nui means big love, amongst really many things. Aloha means a lot of stuff, but bottom line, aloha is it's really being able to give whatever you have even if it's the last of it, you give it, right? Because there's never depletion. There's always constant recycling and regeneration of everything. So it's big love. I get to give to you. It's always reciprocal. And other KAN that's capitalized, can, because you can. You can do this for yourself. You can invest in yourself. You can reclaim your life. You know, what the ladies were talking about, one of the biggest things about, I would say, the work that I do, and one of the biggest intentions that I hold for that work, aside from radical transformation, is to give you the tools to learn to move away from living a pre-programmed, conditioned experience to living a life of your own inspired creation, inspired in spirit, embodied, right? From your own inner wisdom voice, and not living full-time from your conditioning and being on autopilot. So you can, it's big aloha nui, you know,
Again,
aloha
yeah.
nui, and you're embodying, you're remembering your own love. And hopefully I can be a facilitator to support that.
So you guys check it out. This is 50% off. Okay. His work is amazing. Our Nick has had a session. These lovely ladies have had sessions. I've worked with his energy as you know we've had to travel and just being in his energy, you guys. And if you have the opportunity to follow his website and check out his events when he goes, I, to say mainland, when he goes to the other states,
America.
keep him out in person. You know, is yes, I live on a rock in the middle of the ocean. Oh, thank you, Nick. She says my session was amazing.
Oh,
You know, um, so again, you guys know when I bring someone on my show, it's because I love their energy, I love their gifts, I love their heart, and I believe in them. Okay, so this is our Rye guy. You guys have seen him in the comments, you know, following everybody. Everybody just loves you. And now you guys have access to his website, his sessions, and his teaching. Speaking of teaching, we're going to roll right into that section. And I know that you two are not only part of his soul family, but you are his students as well. How long have you been working with him in his teaching? Allison?
I've been working with him since 2014, so it's 8 years now.
I love that.
And it's
And
been steady the whole time.
we are all students. It's an ongoing process.
yeah.
How long have you been with him?
Um, for a little over a year now. Yeah.
And I love that we have the one that has been there for these years with this journey and is still inspired, and you'll be hosting him in the mainland and supporting him. And then you have the new student, fairly new. I won't say new. You know, you're not a rookie, but we are all on this seeking journey. And what would you say? Because I mean, I love Ryan's energy, but what would you say in this in the teaching aspect? How he allows you to experience your own growth in wisdom. You know, is because it really is about empowering you. You know, and so I kind of know this about Ryan. So how do you guys feel about that? The way he brings that empowerment to you. What would you say is an experience you would like to share in regards to learning from Ryan to empower yourself?
I think one of the things that really strikes me is how Brian leads you into the experience so that you can have that experience for yourself. And then he sort of helps you understand what that experience was that you just had so that it's like a journey of discovery. It's not just a teaching. He's leading you into this self-discovery and this discovery of the things that we're working with. And just so many times, I think, you know, he works with so much love, and that he allows you to confront yourself. from a place of love. And you can run, you can, hide, but eventually you're going to get there. And it's always just a gentle, a lot of aha experiences, but always a very gentle, loving process.
And what happens when you run?
It life gets difficult. It's not pleasant.
Yeah.
So,
But there's also the space that's available to allow you to run for a bit if you need to, right?
yeah, yeah, yep.
I think we all run once in a while, and the energy around
No,
it.
not me.
We get this energy going. This is not in alignment with you. This is not, but we got to go check it out anyway. It's okay. It's okay. It's part of our life. As long as we're appreciating it, we're in that energy of appreciation. We can take that experience and learn from it. So, Emily, what about you? How do you feel about experiential remembering of your empowerment from Ryan?
Hmm. That's a big question. um, there's this, like, the word that came to mind is funny. The word that just came up is softness. There's a softness to it that is um, kind of lets you sink in. And I think there's something about Ryan's energy and Ryan's trust in knowing that everything's in perfect timing, and um, we'll see what we need to see, or what needs to come forward right now, what our spirit wants to bring forward right now. And there's something about that just lets you, it's like, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's simple, right? And it unfolds very smoothly. Yeah.
So there is a grace and ease about your teaching. So if you guys don't like those hardcore, gotta do it XYZ now teachers, maybe Ryan is the one you guys need to check out because I like to go with the timing and the flow of where my spirit is calling. And I am a firm believer that when we teach and allow the experience to unfold naturally, then we don't only gain wisdom, we gain understanding. And when we gain that understanding, it becomes our truth. And it's not like we have to remember what the textbook said because we understand it,
Yeah.
you know. So I
It's
love that
embodied.
this is in that. Yes, I love that this is experiential. Um, so I am seeing the difference between Allison and Emily was Allison has been doing this ongoing journey with you. Are your courses a continual journey with your students, or is there courses that people can come and say, "Oh, I'm going to take a 6 month course or a 6 class course, or I can really only commit right now to 5 courses." Do you offer different types of courses, or is this something that somebody comes in and says, "Well, I can just do this one time," and you're cool with that? Yeah.
That's in development. So up until recently, I've always just worked one-on-one, and I've done workshops around the country. With COVID coming in, I saw everything that was going on and seeing the need of, people are looking for something, right? And I mean, and you and Nikki know as well, there was a time where you all found support, right? And then you found each other. And so I knew that I wanted to move towards more group work, moving towards a bigger audience. And so I just took the body of work and developed the 6 month class, the first 6 month class, which I taught last year. Emily and Allison are in my advanced energy medicine class. And there will be other classes popping up. I do have a 5 week class that I've created that'll be coming soon. I've also thought about taking some of the material from the 6 week class and kind of the 6 month class and breaking it down into a smaller chunk. If you go to the workshops, you'll get a taste of what's taught in the classes. But that's in development. But they will be coming in the next couple 3 months, and that'll all be on the website.
So you
I
guys got to
actually,
follow that website.
yeah, you got to follow the website. I don't have a Facebook page. I probably won't make one. It's too tedious for me. Um, Alice and Emily and I, we've kind of toyed with the idea of Instagram, so I'm kind of looking at that, how I might do that, just kind of quotes that kind of float through. So it's in development, but there's going to be some big shifts by the end of the year.
Yeah, there
I
was this big transition between in person and then the COVA era, and there's a lot more um, technological challenges involved with the COVA era,
Yeah,
COVID area. So we are expanding and growing and supporting each other in this, and that would be great if you could allow us the honor of having like your Instagram links and stuff as well when you get all set
absolutely.
up. Just let me know. I'm going to promote you, dude. You know,
Yeah,
uh, and when you're doing these courses online, um, is this something that people can say, well, I don't have time for this right now. Can I just catch a replay? Or is this very interactive and it's in the moment type of courses where it's better to be live in the live stream when you're doing the courses with you?
yeah. So the first class that we did, the last 6 month class, there were several people that enjoyed that were on the replays. That just did the replay from home and weren't a part of the class. And there were enough people in class that kept it sustainable and kept it moving. But I think also what I'm finding is that there's something to be said for a held container. And if you have people that are in the class that aren't serious about doing the work, they're an integral part of the container that's been created. So now I've got a leak that as the instructor, I get to energetically tend to and also hold. So I really, my intention is to bring students in that are serious about this work, that are curious about transformation, and looking at moving from, the forms of oppression they may be holding themselves in to transforming them in a way that they remember their own embodied sovereignty. And that requires showing up, and that requires having the courage to do it.
That
There's a lot of
consistent commitment.
interaction breaking off into pairs in the group too. So, if we end up with an odd number of people, it works out. It always works out. That's not the thing. But there's something to be said for the container that's held and having people that are serious about showing up and, wanting to support the container that's being held for everybody. Yeah,
Yes. I believe in that consistent commitment. You are
yeah,
worth it. You know,
absolutely.
you
And
are
I
worth
think it's
it.
important to say too, that when you start doing this kind of work, and you start really coming home to yourself and loving yourself in a way that perhaps you've never experienced or never fully learned to hold on to, something happens. That relationship with yourself has a ripple effect to the world around you. And so those people that can no longer stand in the truth of who you are and who you're becoming, they begin to fall away. And that creates room for those people that are complementary to you to be coming into the picture and to support you or to support each other, right? It's about complementarity. It's not about sticking in puzzle pieces anymore, right? And completing someone or something else. It's about being our own individual light and our own beautiful sovereignty, our own beautiful sun that gets to complement those people around us. And that leads me in. I have a question, if I may, to the ladies. And it's an interesting question to come up, but I want to honor that it's coming up. One of the things that happened in the last class was we got on, the class started and I broke down. Y'all remember that last summer? I broke down. I cried. I wasn't in the space to be able to facilitate the class. I was open and honest and shared, this is where I'm at, man. I'm having a human experience. This is where I'm at. My question is twofold. When you witnessed an instructor, I don't know if you've been in other classes, have an instructor that was just vulnerable and raw and said, look, this is where I'm at. How did you receive that? What did that feel like for you? And then for me to turn the tables and ask for you to come together as a class and for me to walk you through supporting, facilitating, and mini healing for me to support me as your instructor. What was that like for you? How did that maybe even challenge, I don't know, your reality?
I think it was a gift, because it helps us to be open and vulnerable. And that's something that's hard for me. And so when Ryan models that and he asks for our support and then we get to come together as a class, I think it strengthens the bond that we have with each other within the class too. And so it's really a gift.
Emily?
Yeah, it was really beautiful, actually. Sometimes we need a reminder that Ryan's human, and it, yeah, to be able to turn around and we offered a group healing was just a really beautiful experience, I think, for everyone involved, and empowering too. Yeah,
I
it's
love those
definitely,
answers.
yeah, it's definitely something that I have had to learn to like not have teachers on pedestals, right? Like we're all human, and I'm really, I think it's honoring. I was honored that Ryan showed up like that. Yeah, and trusted us.
I love that question and I love those answers. That was a beautiful experience to share with all of us, because sometimes we do get lost in the idea that someone that um, is mentoring us in some form is higher in some way, that they don't have to deal with these energies of vulnerability and stuff. And this is not true. We all show up in our authentic self, and there is this mutual respect that gets born in the support in this vulnerability. You know, um, I do want to honor everyone's time, and I thank you, ladies, for coming on. But before you disappear, I would like to ask Ryan. Ryan, you've heard these beautiful supportive stories in regards to their journeys and working with you. And I just want to give you a little space here to say what your heart is being called to say to your beautiful friends that have come on to support you.
I'm really grateful for the both of you, and I'm extremely grateful for everybody I have the privilege and honor of working with. And for the two of you to step up to support me in this way means a lot. It's a big reminder for me that I'm not on this journey alone and that we're all in the canoe together, right? We're all doing this together. And that there's enough of us in the canoe that we're aware of that it's okay sometimes to sit back and take a nap. But then we get to step back up and, do the work that we get to do. But thank you for embodying and choosing to be the big, beautiful sons that you are, and for having the courage to step up and really own yourselves in the way that you have. Because it's been such a privilege to watch how both of you have shifted and transformed dramatically in short periods of time as well as over the long term. Um, I'm grateful to be on this journey with you, and thank you for being on this journey with me, because we can't do any of this alone anymore.
Thank
We
you.
get to do work together, and we get to do it individually together within the collective. So I love the both of you very dearly. And thank you so much, Auntie, for bringing me on and, give me this opportunity to be seen. And thank you for believing in me the way that you do.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. I got big love. Big love. So, thank you to all of my guests on this show, and thank you to everyone that is viewing. And I really encourage you, I invite you, if you so feel called, check out his website, follow him. He will be coming up with new dates and events from time to time as things get solidified in his calendar. They will be placed out there for the world to follow and find out and get your schedules on. And if you're in another state connected to, say, you're in California, is happening in Phoenix, well, you know what? It's worth the drive. Okay, just go explore and enjoy the journey. Um, so thank you again, and blessings be upon both of you, ladies, for showing up for yourselves. Congratulations and honoring your truth, your understanding, and growing and expanding, because all of that does fills in and ripples out. You know, we feel the energy just by you being here and sharing your love and light with all of us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And Raigai, I cannot say enough about you. I have been waiting for the day when you were ready to come on our show and just shine, shine, shine. So I
Shall I
love you.
sing gratitude in closing?
Yes, that would be wonderful.
And then
Okay.
as soon as we're done, then we'll just say aloha and then go. Okay. So I'm going to sing. I just encourage you to really, maybe even put your hands on your heart and just feel your heart, feel yourself. Ula ia ka makaloala, puai ke aloha la. Kuka I ia ka haloala, pavehi maina le ua. Maiko o kuia ka halavaila, mahalo e na kua. Mahalo e ke akua. Mahalo e na punala ea. Mahalo me ke aloha la. Mahalo me ke aloha la. Mahalo no hele mai. Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.